Hello, and welcome to Keeper's Corner Podcast, where we're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. With your hosts, as always, Matthew Sterling, Michelle Brooks, and Brandon Brooks. Let's go. Hello, welcome to another edition of the Keeper's Corner Podcast. This is going to be our season recap, a look back at the season that was for Utica City. But since it's just Matt and Brandon, I think we will start off with Brandon taking the lead on some history about the big news in the postseason, where Utica decided not to renew Ryan Hall's contract. It was up. They had no obligation to renew it. And instead, they have signed Everton Moreira to a multi-year deal to be our new head coach. Brandon, you had some stats you wanted to share about this decision.
Well, I mean, first off, obviously, I voiced my displeasure about the initial getting rid of Ryan Hall as the coach of Utica City FC. He's literally the only one we've known. And so, obviously I voiced my displeasure about it right out of the get-go. And I mean, I can't say I'm still happy about it, but knowing that we have Everton moving into the picture, I mean, that kind of softens the blow a little bit more. I know those two have had a little bit of history, good history. So, I mean, I'm hopeful. I'm more hopeful than I was previously. But
yeah, I mean, you're not the only one that thought it was a odd or negative decision. We threw a poll up on the Twitter. Jesus, how boomerish am I?
The Twitter. Listen, everybody, this is the Twitter. It is not. Hey, you never know. Elon might rename it to the Twitter.
Oh, God. I have comments about that, but they're not meant for this podcast.
No, they are not. So the Twitter, yes.
And 65% of respondents believed that this was the wrong move to move on from Coach Hall.
And I've put together some supporting documentation that agrees to that. So I'm going to look. I put some stats together of coaches around the league, from San Diego down to Harrisburg, basically top to bottom for this year anyway. But I mean, this isn't just this year's record. This is this is just kind of their records overall. So, and I've also added to that now with Everton. So, okay. Leading the league, I mean, you've got Phil Savaggio. I mean, San Diego's coach has just been pretty stellar. I mean, in just the MSL, I mean, he's got a 79, just under an 80% with, just over an 80% overall. I mean, for the MASL, you're looking at, he's got 127 and 32 over 8 years, that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. And then you've got, I won't go into each one individually like that, but you've got two people. You've got Milwaukee and Chihuahua tied for second. So Giuliano Oliverio, I almost screwed that up. And Luis, I just blanked on his name. Orego for Chihuahua. I believe that's his name. Yes. I might have mispronounced it.
It's like, I don't know.
That's how it's spelled. But then in third place, tied for third, you have Ryan Hall and Clay Roberts.
Right.
They both have a 60% win percentage. Ryan's comes over 4 years of MASL coaching. And Clay Roberts comes over 6. Ryan Hall had a 54 and 36 record, even including this year. So doesn't really hurt his record that much over in the grand scheme of things. Now, I'm not even going to go really any further. I mean, then you've got, well, I guess I'll go further. David Bascom's got a 57 from Baltimore. He's tied with Ricardino Calavante for Dallas. I might have said
first year coaches, both of them.
First year coaches, both of them still. You know, they were still able to pull off a 60% this year, just about. Leo Gibson and Jimmy Nordberg both have roughly about a 54%. Pat Healy's got a 41. Jeff Locker, I think that's the name.
Yes.
I can't read my own handwriting, okay?
One of the owners and current GM of the Ambush and also their coach.
He's got a 40%. And Adam Becker for Tacoma is a 28, roughly, if I round up. So, I mean, obviously you have some first-year coaches. I mean, you've got 5 of them in that list. Mm-hmm. I could have hit my button to mute my cough, but instead I just didn't. But you've got some other, veterans. I mean, you've got Leo that's got 3 years. You've got Pat Healy that's got 3 years. Jimmy Nordberg's got 8. So, I mean, you have guys with pretty good, with some time in the league that have pretty good records. Or I shouldn't say pretty good. They have, some of the worst records in the league. And then you've got Ryan Hall, who had 1 bad season out of technically 4. And this happens. What? It doesn't make much sense to me. I mean, you look at the 2016-2017 season of the Silver Knights was coached by Brian O'Quinn. They went 8-11. So not amazing, not a positive season. And then you look at the very next season when Paul took over, 13-5. Kind of an improvement.
Yeah, just a little.
Just a tiny little bit, So clearly he was good for the team. So now I haven't gotten to Everton's yet. I will. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the final season for Ryan Hall in the 2021-2022 season. The first half of the season, he didn't have a good record. Sure, you already know this. 2-10, not great.
Yeah,
kind of painful.
Very painful to watch.
Second half, 8-4, which we already knew about. We talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, okay, yeah, he had one. He didn't even have a full bad season. He had a half of a bad season, and they just kick him to the curb. I just don't feel like that's right. But I can understand at the same time, I can understand a organization when a contract is up to decide, okay, are we going to see if the grass is greener on the other side, or do we stick with what we have? I can see going with the grass is greener, but not when you have a top 3 coach in the league. I have a hard time with that. I have a hard time justifying when you have a coach that has a 60% winning record and giving him up and giving him out to basically have another team pick up. So I'm not looking forward to if we end up having to, potentially go against Ryan Hall as a coach in a different city. First of all, I will be very sad. But second of all, it could be it could suck.
Yeah. So I'll just say this is pure speculation. We don't have any inside information on this. But if I had to go through reasons that I believe Ash and Tommy Tanner decided to move on, number one, it's easy because the contract's up. You're not terminating it early and maybe having to spend that unpaid money depending on how tight that contract was locked up.
Right.
Number 2, we had what we thought was a championship caliber roster coming into this season.
And they touted it as such.
Yes. And failure to make the playoffs, that can be seen as inadmissible in that case. Number 3, I think under Coach Hall, we've noticed a very defensive style of play, defense oriented. It shouldn't be lost on us that Everton is a more offensive minded coach.
Agreed.
This team's probably going to be more free flowing and faster paced next year, which is the way we've seen the league head in the few seasons that we've watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 3 reasons why I think they might have chosen to move on. I'm not saying I agree. I'm not saying I disagree.
I have one more. More reason.
Sure.
They wanted a fall guy.
Yeah, I mean, you could pin it right on the coach and say the reason we underperformed was we were outcoached. I mean, that would be completely overlooking the fact that most of this team didn't play last year. And if you go back to our episodes from the first half of the season, where we were lamenting the fact that this team was getting outran on the turf, they didn't have the stamina to keep up in the late stages of games. They were sloppy. They were making, brain fart decisions on transition that cost goals. But the 3 players that we kept saying, hey, these guys are doing their job, were Ben, Nate, and Jake. And all 3 of them got to play last year.
Yep. Yeah, they were on their game from the get-go. But like you said, that's probably due to the fact that they were more active.
Yes. And then you throw in the injuries and COVID and however long that affected the guys.
Mm-hmm.
And
their revolving door.
Yeah, bringing in Everton out of retirement and Pablo da Silva out of retirement. And I'll be honest, when we signed those 2, and I was like, oh, these guys are both done playing. They were coaches only. Is this a get to know you kind of situation?
Yep.
And then we sign Everton for a long-term contract to replace Hall. It's like, oh, maybe it was. But then I don't know if you read the Rome Sentinel piece from Ben Vernal about Everton's introduction at all.
I watched the interview. Okay. I watched the interview he had with Michael.
Okay. Well, in the Rome Sentinel, I read it online. He says that when he came to Utica, he made it clear to Ryan that he was here just as a player. He wasn't here to coach. Like, he didn't want to step on his toes or anything.
Yep, he said that. He said that in the. They might have. I wonder if they transcribed some of that because he said that in the interview. Sorry, I remembered that exact line from the interview.
Mm-hmm. Well, now we're going to see Everton as just a coach.
Yep.
He will not be doing the player coach like he did his first couple of years in the league.
Which I think is good.
Can you blame the guy? He's in his 40s.
Nope.
Obviously, we want to welcome him to the city.
Yes.
And I did throw another quick poll out on, and we're going to do this as a running joke now, probably forever, but it's on the Twitter. Just about
the Twitter,
how people feel about the signing. And of those who answered, 17% still think they should have stuck with Coach Hall. 28% think it's a great hire. And 56% are just at, now let's wait and see.
That's fair. I mean, again, I was of the mindset we should have stuck with Ryan. Period. End of story. Just, if you want to be cautious about it, only sign him to a year.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be a wait and see, give him another year. Give him a chance. Don't just throw him out the door. at least sign him to another year so that you can see, was this just a bad year? Which it was, with, as you mentioned, the injuries, COVID, visa, all this other stuff. Really is the revolving door that I keep mentioning is what I contribute a lot of our first half of our bad season. Because once things stabilized, we started winning.
Yeah.
We started winning. I mean, that's not that fact is not lost on me. Clearly,
to be fair, the first half of the season had a much harder schedule than the second half.
We still beat Florida.
We did beat Florida.
We still beat Chihuahua. I don't care if it's their second team.
And we hung with San Diego.
We hung with San Diego.
So, yes, there were improvements. But some of those wins obviously came from playing Harrisburg 4 times in the second half.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah.
But we still beat some top tier teams. Granted, they may not have brought their A teams, but we still beat them. It's on the record. The record shows.
Look, you can only play who shows up, whether they're healthy or not. I mean, no one around the league is going, yeah, I know we beat Utica, but like everyone's injured and out sick. And
yeah, no, they're saying, we beat Utica.
So yeah, you said you had Everton's career record.
So Everton's stats. Now remember, Ryan has a 60% at 54 and 36. Everton has a 30, 47 and 5. So that is a 37%. It is a bit of a drop down. Now, you can contribute that to a couple of things. The caliber of player. I'm not saying St. Louis is a bad team, but I feel like we consistently see them, in like the lower tiers. Granted, we were lower than them this year, but just I don't typically see St. Louis as contenders.
Right.
And I mean, in a good year, we probably would have destroyed them. I think we beat them, didn't we? No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did. It took overtime, but we still beat them.
Yes. So, I mean, even then, even this year, we still ended up beating St. Louis. So, that being said, it could very well just have it very well could have just been, the team he was with, the players he had to work with, and potentially, who knows? Maybe there was outside influence that, he just butted heads with or something. I don't know. That is all very good possibilities. So now that he's not only played in Utica, now that he's played in Utica and he is now going to be coaching in Utica, that sort of thing, if he's got a good relationship with Tommy, if he's got a good relationship with Esh, and he's got a good relationship with the guys, which at least some of them, that seems to be the case. Just based on some things I've heard. I don't know. It could be very interesting next season. And I mean, I know Michelle's already reached out to say hello and whatnot, and he accepted her friend request, but not mine. I don't know. I am cautiously optimistic for the next season. I want to see Everton succeed. I do, because if he succeeds, it means that Utica is succeeding. Am I still very upset that we're not having Paul? Yes. Is it out of my control? Absolutely. So I just have to go with what we have. And that is Everton. So Everton, I welcome you to the city, and I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we will talk soon.
Yeah. So you mentioned that his record might have to do with the teams he took over. I would state, and I think this is why it's important to keep it in perspective, when he took over the Cedar Rapids Rampage.
Blah, blah, blah.
They were 5-15 the previous season.
Mm-hmm.
His first year, they got 12 wins. His second year, they got 11. They went 23-19 under him. He then moved on to St. Louis.
Yep.
St. Louis was 1-19 the previous year. His first year, I mean, there's really only up to go from there, and he did not 3-19. But
okay, improvement.
It's an improvement. But his other 2 years there, his other 3 years, they went a combined 27-33.
Okay.
Which, going from a 1-win team to almost 500. I mean, St. Louis wasn't even 500 this year, so. It's if we can see that kind of boost to the record, Utica will be back to where we were before the pandemic in the next season.
Yes, which would be...
I mean, might have happened anyways. We will never know.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see us back to where we were pre-pandemic, because we were in the playoffs. I mean, don't get me wrong, we got knocked out in the first round, Baltimore. But we made it.
Yeah, I mean, in the 4 years under Coach Hall, he made the playoffs twice.
Yes.
1 year it didn't happen because there were no playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those playoff years, they got bounced in the first round. So that could have also been part of the decision, which is we think this team's headed in the right direction, but we need someone that can get us past the first round.
Yep.
That's, obviously we wish Everton the best. We look forward to meeting him. I know we've already talked about going out to a practice when they start back up in November.
Yes, we have.
Look, I'll just tell you, when I went out this past spring, hi, Coach Hall. Here's my notebook. I'm just going to jot some stuff down, see how things are going. Only person that talked to me while they were practicing was Timmy, who ran over to the net and was like, Matt Sterling!
That's what you expect from him.
Yeah. Chatted with a couple of guys afterwards, but, hey, they're in practice. I expect them to be focused. So that knocks some points off for Timmy, Hey, keep it on the turf.
No, I mean, yeah, you're there to practice, not to socialize. So
that was literally all he said was my name. I was like, how you doing, Timmy?
It's too funny, though.
Yeah. We'll see what this means for free agency, which will be coming up in a couple weeks. And before we talk about because we can't yet, let's look at what brought us to this point.
Okay.
I have a few different of my own stats on a couple of them are the weird things from this season. The ball change.
Yes.
Being one. Which I didn't get to watch much of the Chill Cave during the first broadcast because I was working and I actually wanted to listen to the game on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
But I did get home in time to hear Van Zella lamenting the fact that the league made that change with all of 3 days' notice and no one was able to get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at how the goalkeeper rule might have affected play.
Yep.
And then I have stats looking at the 3 seasons of Utica and how things changed over that time.
Okay.
So we'll start with the nice, short, and easy one, the ball.
Oh.
Okay, that's what I was waiting for. I'm like, come on, Brandon has a meme here. He's got to do it.
Oh.
So over the course of the season, we actually saw a slight trend upwards using that blue-gray ball in goals per game. We averaged, with that ball, 12.75 goals per game. That was through the first, 16 weeks of the season.
Okay.
Over the final 2 weeks, when the yellow ball was introduced with very little time, I'm not counting playoffs because those are better teams generally playing the better teams, and it's a very small sample size. I mean, this is small. It's only 22 games versus 119. But we saw the goals per game drop from almost 13 to 10.6, which I think that is, it's not the ball's hard to track or anything. It's that they went from a ball that had that bounce absorbing layer and made it a little bit heavier to a faster, lighter ball. We talked about it after the first week, how teams were having just a harder time controlling it, and shots were going all over the place.
Yes. Yeah, they were.
So, I don't know. In hindsight, I would have liked to seen that change made earlier in the season so teams had time to adjust, or just stuck it out. You had 2 weeks, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
obviously, I was going to say, you could have even given the ball to the teams those last 2 weeks to practice with and then introduced it for the playoffs.
See, that's what I was thinking. I mean, that's not, we said this in the middle, when it happened in the middle of the season, that this is not a middle of the season change. This is a off season, beginning of the season, like very beginning of the season, or playoff change, not necessarily a middle of the season change.
Mm-hmm.
So, we said it then, and I mean, that still holds true now.
Now, in defense, I will say on the Chills Cave, Van Zella did also say that this is the most perfect ball he has played with for indoor.
Mm-hmm.
Like they nailed it. So if you guys need to update it, let's just make the design a little different. That's all you got to, you want an excuse to sell some more balls, change the design.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seemed like these new balls were definitely widely accepted with the teams. So, and that's good. That's what you want.
Yeah, just quick, simple, short. We'll get into something a little bit messier, which is the goalkeeper rule.
Boring.
We weren't fans of it. The league, if you go, remember back to the beginning of the year, said we were at like an M3 tryout. We'd noticed this watching a couple games. After the first half of the tryout, we were like, all right, you guys can only pass it back once. We're looking for guys that want to attack. And it made things look better to them. And I, got up on my soapbox and banged my drum about how that's too small of a sample size. This is dumb. You should have tested it in a lower league. Well, here's what I found. And I will say I am choosing to ignore the 2021 shortened season because it was 41 games total played.
Right.
This year, with only 12 teams in the league, they still played 141 games. It should have been 144, but Baltimore.
I was going to say.
This one you don't have to ignore 2021 on, but all right, 2019 shots per game, 48.8. 2020, 48.9. 2021, 48.98.
Okay, very consistent.
2022, 54. So we saw about 5 more shots per game.
Yep.
Which, if you're looking for more offense, that could be the more offense you're looking for.
Yep.
Was it productive offense? Goals per game in 2019, 12.4. 2020 goals per game, 12.8. Goals per game this past year, 12.5. Didn't change. Like, that's a few tenths of a goal. Like,
Yeah,
that is
that's
well within seasonal fluctuations.
Yep.
How about shot percentage? Because, I mean, obviously, if we're seeing more shots, but the same amount, if not slightly less goals. 2019, 25.3%. 2020, 26.1%. And this past season, 23%. 2 percentage points doesn't seem like much, but it's almost a 10% reduction. Slightly over. So we saw about 10% more shots and 10% less effectiveness on those shots.
Yep.
So you've created a faster game that's sloppier.
Yeah, see, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't sound like what you'd want. Like, yeah, we want the same amount, we want somewhere around the same amount of shots, but we want them to be, or we want less productive teams over letting the goalie touch it more than once.
Yeah, less productive possessions.
Yeah.
Which, great, but are we just looking for more shots, or are we looking for better production?
Things to happen from those shots.
Because, 5 more shots per game is meh if it's not doing anything. You keep the old stats, that would be 1 to 2, just over a goal more a game, which we didn't see.
No, we did not.
So it's a little depressing seeing that. And then our friend over in the box, Adam Granatella, put this link on my post where I explained all the goal stuff that I saw. I want you to open it up and just play the clip for yourself, and I'll insert. It's Keith Tozer on the mic in the booth at a Milwaukee Wave game back in 2017.
I got to ask you, Coach, it seems like more and more of the goalkeepers are coming forward. In this game, even tonight, into the attacking half of the field. What's your thoughts on the goalkeepers being so involved?
Personally, I don't like it. There are so many great goalkeepers in the league, and they got great, foot skills. And I did not come to see, the ball at the goalkeeper feet. I want to see Marcio Leite and Ian Bennett. So I've been saying for years, maybe limit the touches of the goalkeeper. But you know what? I'm not the commissioner of this league, commissioner of another league. But it's great.
You like what you heard?
Well, that's I'm not commissioner of the league. Well, guess what? He became, and the next thing you know, it's
this was a personal vendetta.
Yeah. This is clearly, hey, I have the power, and makes it a thing, and now we all have to suffer.
Like, I said back in November, look, if I'm wrong at the end of the season, I'll be the first to admit it. I will own that L, but it's time for the commissioner to own the L. Your rule did nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Ooh, shots that amount to nothing. Because as we talked about many a time, what happens is as the ball's rushed across midfield, players are just taking whatever shot they can get, whether it's a smart one or not.
Yep. And it basically, it made it so that you always had to have one player playing back. So a lot of the time you'd have 4v5 in the attacking half for any particular team, which makes shots happen much less because it's less likely that they're going to be able to recover the ball. So they are more hesitant to take shots. Mm-hmm. If you have 5 and then you can throw it back to your keeper to reset over and over and over, you can have more extended offensive skirmishes. And I don't know why I called it a skirmish, but hey, I'm going with it. I'm owning it. And it just, I don't know. Overall, it just made it a lot more interesting to see that, kind of that style of play. So you actually had 5v5 instead of like a 5v4 and then a keeper that could touch it once.
You want to know how you make it faster? You do like basketball and where they have the half court count.
Shot counter.
Not even a shot counter. Just to get it past midcourt or mid-turf. Give them 10 seconds, 8 seconds, like they do in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Still speeds it up. I don't know. Speeds it up. That's if that's what you're going for. Speeds it up. I don't think this game needs to be faster.
No, it doesn't. This is more. This sport still feels more fast paced than a hockey game, and that's a pretty fast paced sport.
Like I would rather watch these tough, hard fought 9 to 5, and not 9 to 5, 5 to 4, 9 goal games.
I was like, are these guys? Are we having 8-9 hour games now?
5 to 4 goals, something hard fought, something that both teams have to work for, versus these games that we see especially on the smaller field down in Chihuahua, where all of a sudden it's 20 goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's.
Look, if you want to make it faster paced and have higher scoring, then make every field Baltimore size.
Oh, God.
And go from 5v5 with goalkeepers to 4v4 with goalkeepers.
Wait, say that. Repeat that again?
So the game right now is, there's 5 guys on the turf plus the goalkeeper.
Okay.
Cut it to 4. Cut it to 4-on-4 with a goalkeeper. That way you made the field smaller, but you kept that amount of space because you took 2 bodies off of it.
Okay. I mean,
these are dumb things,
you could do
and
that.
they change. They're dumb things, and they change the game in dumb ways. But if you're trying to cater this product that is just ultra fast pace and ultra high scoring and shots and offense and limited defense, then that's what you got to do. But if you want this mix of speed and physicality and hock sock is our friend Gio calls it on the bunker.
We're just gonna, no. There's an easy name for it. Ready?
Yeah.
Sake!
No, that's a drink.
No. It works. It works, and you know it. Don't deny it.
At least you're not calling it hawker.
Hey, we have a friend who's a hawker, all right? You leave him alone.
No, he's a hawker.
Tomato.
But yeah, I just look. The rule failed. We gave it a full season. Just scrap it.
Let it go. It's okay. The goalkeeper did not hurt you. It will be okay.
If it's still there next season, we're definitely having a joke about, show us where on the dial the goalkeeper hurt you. like
I will the ball.
I will come up with a thing and put that on our TeePublic and see if we can get some traction on that.
Show us on the ball where the keeper hurt you.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was an interesting experiment. It didn't really do anything. Scrap it.
It flopped worse than
Don't do it.
the Florida team in the first game of the year.
I knew that's where that was going. I knew it. There's a reason that in Utica they are known as the Flopics. And
Flopped their way to the
game.
championship.
Yeah, no, well,
they've been pretty good. From what
I was going to say, you give them some credit here. Come on now.
Yeah, they got Dieguez, and then they suddenly remembered how to play like men.
Like men.
All right. But hopefully we can bury that rule and never have to talk about it again.
6 feet under.
You can only touch it once. All right. So here's the 3-year breakdown. We saw 24, 20, and 24 games. Our defense took... the defense, I will say, wasn't... I don't know where you say which one was more of a problem this year than whether it was defense or offense. Let's start with the offense, I guess, because that was the glaring issue in the first half of the year. We couldn't score for the life of us.
No, we could not. We played with it way too much, we'd play with it. We'd play with it some more. We'd continue playing with it. We would keep falling back towards our keeper. They would steal it and shove it down our throats.
All right. Our goals per game in the first 2 seasons were 6.75 and 7. We scored a decent amount for a defensive team.
Yeah.
In a league that averages 12 goals per game, we were averaging, because we had a winning record, we were averaging the lion's share of that. This year, Utica averaged 5 goals per game. That is a 27% drop from 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was a bit of a difference, and it was noticeable.
Part of that is our assist rate slipped as well. We assisted on 79% of goals our first year, 76% the second year. Again, within that yearly fluctuation range. It is down to 69% this year. Nice.
Why? Nice.
Because I live on the internet and my mind is a meme.
All of our minds are memes at this
point.
But
it really wasn't nice.
No, it was not.
That's an almost 13% drop in assist rate.
Just more pain. It's just more pain.
Here's where it really gets bad.
Oh.
Shot percentage. Utica single-handedly could have changed the shot percentage for the entire league because of how bad they shot this year. Over the 4 years that I looked at, this was the 4th worst shot percentage out of any team.
Oh, good.
Our first year was 28%. Our second year was 29.5%. This year we shot 18.5%.
Oh my God! Why do you?
We converted on a third less of our goals, or for the third less of our shots.
Why do you want to hurt me so?
Just offensively, not a good team.
No.
Now, part of that is obviously we lost Pat Thompson. We lost Moy for a huge chunk of the season. We had no Slav after a very short amount of time, and when he was here, he wasn't doing that well. Joey had a phenomenal second half, but for the first half, he looked lost out there.
I mean, they all did.
Yeah.
In reality, they all did. Minus a couple that we already talked about.
That brings on the defense. First year in Utica, they allowed 5 goals per game.
Mm-hmm.
Second year, 5.3, which I don't know if you remember, but I kind of raised that in our farewell to the season. Here's something that went wrong. We should probably get this fixed under defensive coach Hall, is tighten down the defense a little bit again.
About that.
This past year, 6.375 goals per game. More than a goal more per game.
I mean, not as bad as I thought. I will be honest.
The big part of that is no Darren Toby.
Yes,
obviously.
That is a big, painful part.
Another weird part of that, empty net goals. You know, we at one point were begging to not see the 6 attacker anymore. And that's for good reason.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
2018-19, 6 empty netters against us. 19-20, 4 empty netters. 21-22, 12 empty netters. We allowed an empty net goal at a rate of every other game.
Even though they came in chunks, I feel.
So we talked about how there were more shots per game this year.
Yep.
Obviously, our goalkeepers faced more shots this year.
Yes, they did.
Weirdly enough, when the season was cut short, our goalkeepers had faced the exact same number of shots in 2019-20 as they did in 18-19. 324.
Okay.
This season, they saw 394 shots, which is 70 more, but we also lost 4 games from, the last time Utica played an almost full season. So,
yeah. Yep.
Save percentage that first year, when it was all Andrew Coughlin all the time, was 657.
Okay.
Shot percentage in the pandemic shortened year, 701. Slightly better.
Slightly.
5% uptick. That team, up until those last couple games where the wheels were falling off for some reason, really felt like it was going to be a special team.
Yes.
This year, where we saw time split between Brian Wilkin and Andrew Coughlin, it dropped to 642.
Yeah, so definitely down quite a bit.
Slightly lower from the first year, but that's only 1.5 percentage points, like not enough to freak out over.
Yeah.
Even though Coughlin had a bad year up until the final stretch when he started to look like Mr. Stretch again.
Yes, he did. He absolutely did. And I explicitly kept calling him that because he felt like he was Mr. Stretch. It was good to see.
Of all those shots we faced, our block rate. That first year when Darren Toby was Defender of the Year, Utica blocked 0.36% of shots that didn't, or 36% of shots that didn't make it to Andrew Coughlin. So, like, they were either...
Okay.
Yeah. Second year, we went from 182 blocks to 98. Just not getting in front of the ball at the same rate.
No. Nope.
And then this past year, it was 119. Which is about what we were on pace for 2 years ago.
Yeah. So, I mean...
Gotta get some guys back there besides Ben and Toby if he comes back looking like his pre-pandemic self.
Yes.
Willing to throw their body in front of the ball.
Yeah, we just... Yeah, we got to have it. I mean, everything. That's why I feel like I understand that, say, some of it does fall down to Coughlin and Wilkin, but they still need a good defensive line in front of them.
Yeah.
To help mitigate a lot of those extra shots. And yeah, it did feel like we didn't necessarily have that this year.
Yeah, that brings us to the last little bit of stat stuff here.
Give me
That's
the
our
stats.
It's our special teams.
We have to.
It was a steady decline. Well, then a giant drop off. So
it was a steady decline into a cliff.
We did improve in one stat this year here.
Okay.
In each of the previous 2 years, Utica allowed 2 shorthanded goals. It only happened once this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty crazy, right? Like, wow, we actually got better at something.
I really did not expect you to say that.
The first year, they had 4 shorthanded goals in favor of them, none in the shortened year, and then we actually had 1 shorthanded goal this year.
Yep.
Our penalty kill went from 67% to 70% to 63%.
All right, so
Wow.
at least he waited until you were done, and it was just my response that he cut off. So not obviously a decline, but not necessarily not exactly a drastic decline. I mean, it was a decline all the same. It was lower than we had previously been, but it could have been a lot worse.
Look, we were from like top third to top third of the league to the upper part of the middle third.
Yeah.
Like you can climb back in from that.
Yes.
Power play goals, however.
Oh God, I know how this goes.
Well, we know that this year we were an abysmal 8 for 35.
It wasn't a good year for us in general. I mean, it wasn't a good year in general, but it really wasn't a good year for power play.
I mean, even if you're back towards the league average, you're talking 7 to 9 goals left on the table there.
Yeah.
2 years ago, it was 12 out of 26. But our best year was the first year when we were 21 out of 40.
Yeah, see, that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
So for a lot of these things, if you're looking at them, there is a slightly steady decline before no soccer for a year and then a ridiculous drop-off.
Yes.
Which, if that's something that Hall and Ash looked into, could bring us full circle and back into where we started this.
Right.
You want to see year-over-year improvement, and if you're not, well, maybe it's time to make a change.
Yeah, we clearly, we didn't see. I mean, obviously, this year we did not do well compared to previous years. So, I mean, again, that just, like you said, it leans towards making a change, and they did. They did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I won't say if it's the right decision. I won't say if it's the wrong decision. Obviously, we wish Coach Hall all the best with his future, except when he's playing Utica.
I mean, yeah.
If he ends up coaching in the league again versus if he ends up, there's the NISL. There's apparently now another arena soccer league coming as well. Because, yeah, competition.
Yeah, of course.
One other tidbit before we wrap it up here, because I don't really have much else to say about this season besides let's hope it improves, is did you watch the final on Monday, game 1?
Not all of it.
Okay.
I did watch some, but not the whole thing. Bits and pieces when I was in between doing other things.
Did you catch the Soccer Sam halftime interview?
I did not. I saw that he was there. Did not catch the interview.
So as things stand, the Lancers still don't have an arena to play in the Rochester area for whatever reasons.
Okay.
He is considering relocation to get the Lancers back in the league. Where? Who knows? But
yeah, I was going to say.
I believe he's retired at this point and has moved to Florida, so I would imagine he would move them down there. I don't know, given how Orlando did and the new turf in Florida is long overdue and it looks great.
It does. It really does.
And the owner's willing to throw anything to, all the money at a problem to try to win a championship. But when you're drawing 2,200 for a championship game, it's a Monday night. Look, Utica's worst draw of the entire season was 2,500.
Which, I mean, is low for us.
Yeah.
But not for a lot of the other teams in the league. I mean, that'd be a pretty high point.
I don't know. It's just, I don't know if Florida is the right place for a team. Especially Central Florida, where the tropics are located. You're half an hour from Tampa, so you're competing with the Bucks and the Lightning, and now you're competing with the Rays, which, I mean, they're bottom 3 in MLB attendance, so that's not that much competition.
No, not exactly, but I mean, different sport. But
you're an hour from Orlando, so you've got the NBA there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got NBA and MLB and MLS and
ABC and XYZ.
Just within this. I mean, you're a sports fan. You'll travel 4 or 5 hours to catch a game. Like the Revs.
I was going to say, done it. Going to do it again.
Right.
Planning on driving a couple of hours to go watch some outdoor down the throughway.
But in Florida, you've got 3 NFL teams, 2 NBA teams, 2 MLB teams, an NHL team, 2 MLS teams, all the college sports. There's just way too much competition.
Right.
You'd like to see it grow there, but I don't know. It's an uphill battle.
It is. I just don't see it. I don't see it being a good move. I don't. But I'm not Soccer Sam. I mean, maybe he knows something that we don't. That's a distinct possibility. He's
certainly been around the game a lot longer than us.
Literally what I was about to say. Yep.
Oh, that's depressing. I just looked at the attendance for postseason. And
oh, yeah.
Jesus, either teams aren't reporting or, oh, my God. That's bad.
It's kind of depressing a little bit.
But okay, so your regular season attendance leaders. Milwaukee, you're competing with the Bucks and an AHL team. Now this time of year, you got the Brewers, but that's really only the last month of the season if you're in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Utica, your competition is Syracuse basketball. That's it. Really. You might have someone make a drive down to New York City or out to Buffalo for a game, but that's a 4-hour trip. Kansas City, you're competing with the Chiefs. And this time of year, sporting KC and the Royals, but
yeah, I mean, this time of year, I mean, yeah, you're starting to really butt into really butt into other sports. I mean, it's not only just, potentially stuff that's going on the same day, but just, hey, if people have plans to go do other things on that weekend, they might go do something Saturday, and then the next thing you know, they can't. They're just like, I don't want. I'm too tired.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to attend. Or, you can have a game on a Monday, which felt weird. Okay.
See, I don't have any problem with weekday games.
See, I do, for the simple fact of, a lot of people have to work the next morning.
Yeah.
And I mean, okay, sure, they can take, if you're not in the area, I mean, obviously you're going to take time off to go there anyway. But if you are in the area, I mean, you're not going to get out of there till potentially 9:30. If you stick around afterwards because you want to see the players or whatnot, maybe you're not getting out till 10. Or if you don't live that close, then you're potentially driving another half hour to an hour. So you're not putting yourself home until, we'll say, 10:30, 11 o'clock. Which means that, people who have to work the next morning, people who have to go to school the next morning, it's a late night for a lot of people. So,
well, look at it this way. The NHL doesn't have issues drawing. NBA doesn't have issues drawing. MLB doesn't.
You're talking about nationally recognized leagues, though.
Right. But they play all week. And I'm sure they have better attendance on weekends. But they're also marketed as an anyone game. This league, and it was something that was brought up in an MJSL video, markets itself as family friendly first.
Yeah.
You're marketing it to families with kids. Market it to the sports fan. They'll show up no matter what.
Yeah. They will.
Like, you think the Comets are going to have any issue filling the odd next Tuesday for the whiteout for the first game of the playoffs?
Oh.
No, it's going to be a packed house. Just shifting the focus. And I think a lot of it is slowly getting there. We see the social media changes with the Chill Cave, which is kind of mimicking the Manning cast for Monday Night Football. And now the K-Rod Sunday Night Baseball show.
Right.
And then, of course, we have that quick deal with Sirius XM Radio, where our boy Ray Biggs is doing a national broadcast.
Biggsy! Yeah, I just wish that. I have my wife Michelle has Sirius, but I'm not going to go out to the car and listen to the game while I could just sit inside and watch it.
That's what they have an app for.
Listen, okay.
You can mute the TV so you don't have to listen to the broadcasters you don't want to listen to, and then just play your phone with Bluetooth headphones or regular plug-in headphones if your phone still has an aux port, or just play it right off the phone and get to listen to Bigsy.
You kind of smart. You know that? Stop staring at me. I'm just sitting here and I can see you're just giving me the eye like, hey, dummy, you
hadn't thought of that.
You need to listen to Bigsy. You know, don't listen to the regular broadcast.
And
do what I just said.
If you don't have Sirius XM, it's a 3-month free trial, so you can just cancel it after Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
And then deal with all the mail in the flyer. Or flyers in the mail. Come back, please.
Baby, come back.
Yeah, it was a rough year for Utica.
It was.
Kind of puts an end to that.
It was still a fun year.
Yeah, there were highs. There were a lot of lows. There were more lows than highs, but the highs were fun.
The highs were very fun. So it was. It didn't end the way we wanted it to. There was sadness at the end of the season and beyond. But overall, it was an enjoyable season.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope for a better one next year. Yeah?
Yeah.
Guess what?
What?
Your mute doesn't work.
Are you kidding me?
I heard.
So you can still hear me right now?
Yeah.
What the hell?
I could see you reach up to pretend to hit the mute button, and I'm like, Matt, it's not working.
It's even flashing like it's muted.
Not muted.
I wonder if it's because I have the NDI settings on.
I just know you're not muted.
Oh my lord.
First you cough, then you yawn. You wanna do anything else?
No, my ass is still kicked from yesterday's hike.
Hey, listen. We did a 5K walk last Saturday, and it knocked me on my butt too. But so I kind of get it.
What's that? 2.6 miles.
3.2.
Okay, I did 5.5 with 1,400 foot of elevation gained.
I walked a path.
There were a lot of roots. I think I might have partially torn a muscle in the bottom of my foot. All I know is it hurt enough that it woke me up during the night. I am so out of shape.
I have a shape.
Round.
It is round.
I was saying something before all this. Oh, the highs, the lows, this is how it goes. You fake yawned and it's going to make me yawn, and I am fighting it, and it's
a losing battle.
Okay.
So yes, we had highs, we had lows. It didn't end the way we wanted it to, and there was sadness after the fact. And again, good luck to Ryan, no matter where he ends up. I'm sure that he's probably already got people coming after him. I would not be surprised because he's a good coach. Wish him the best of luck, and hope he wins a lot against everyone except for us if he ends up as another MASL coach.
St. Louis could use a coach instead of their owner /GM. Mesquite's coming back. I don't know if they retained their coach from 3 years ago now.
I don't know. I mean,
as things stand, Ontario still has their coach, but given the second half collapse, he could be on his way out as well. Tacoma could maybe use a coach after the year they had. There are a lot of teams around this league with veteran players besides Utica that underperformed.
Yeah. No, there was. It wasn't just... It seemed like it happened at different times for different teams.
Yeah.
You know, Utica underperformed the first half of the season. Ontario underperformed the second half of the season. It's kind of weird. Like it just seemed like a rotating bug around the league.
And Kansas City had a bad second half. They started 9-1, and I mean, I will make a direct statement in contradiction. So, did you watch last week's In the Box with Matt Perella?
No.
Where he said the Central Division was the toughest division.
No, I did not watch that one.
Okay, and the East is the weakest. We got 3 teams in the Central that made the playoffs. Sorry, all 4 teams from the Central made the playoffs. Yeah, how many of them had a winning record?
Not many. Not many, no.
One team had a winning record.
Exactly. So not many. Keep my mouth shut. Yep.
Uh-huh.
That's nope. I'm not. Nope. Not getting there. Nope. Nope. Stop looking at me.
I wasn't actually. I was looking down at my screen.
Don't lie to me.
Yeah. See, if I'm looking at you, you're in a little mini window. So I'm looking to the corner up here where my screen's down here and my camera's here.
I've got you twice. I've got you over here. I've got you over here, and my camera's right here. So
this is great for the audio medium so that everyone can hear you point at the camera.
Yeah. Do you hear me pointing harder? Look at me point. Hear me point. Yar. Hear me point. All right, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Whatever that was. We're going off the rails. Really bad.
Nothing new there.
No.
I don't know. I guess we'll be back whenever free agency starts and we see some signings.
Hopefully some good ones.
I know that this league isn't known for its blockbuster trades or players really jumping teams, but
even if people don't say like end up at Utica, I would still love to see a bunch of crazy trades this year. Like shake things up. Let's see some people go to some different teams. Let's shake up the league, break up the monotony of some of these teams, and really, have a very exciting season because of all the new team dynamics that have to adapt.
Well, one of
to happen.
I guess the 2 interesting ones to easily keep an eye on will be the how many players from Dallas go to Mesquite again?
Yep.
And how many players from Chihuahua go back to Monterey, since like half the roster was Monterey to begin with?
Yeah.
Does Ontario blow it up? Does Utica blow it up? I don't see Nick Pereira moving on from Tacoma since he's GM of the NWSL team up there in Portland, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But does Florida blow it up, given that they just bought new turf, and it looks like we'll see how the championship goes on Sunday, if they can force a mini game. But if they lose again, it's 3 years throwing a lot of money to not accomplish anything.
I mean,
except declaring
really
yourself the Eastern champs.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they still listen. Just because they might not win, they still made it to the big show.
They made it.
There's only one other team that can say that this year. That's San Diego.
But you've got to put butts in seats to pay for those teams.
Fair. Yeah, which, I mean, that still does not seem to be happening down there very much.
No. There could be a changing of the guard on a few teams. We'll see. It'll be interesting. We'll have some stuff to say. Hopefully we know who re-signs with Utica, so we can try to reach out and get a few more player interviews this summer.
Yeah, we have our suspicions of obviously certain people that are most likely going to re-sign next year, but you never know how things could change between now and December. I mean, obviously we would know more before then, but December is the beginning of the season, so December.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a couple weeks away. There's new coaching regime here in Utica, which means a different style of play, which means we might target different players.
And that's true too. Sorry, now I got the hiccups. Yeah, I mean, that's something that it could change. It could change, like you said, it could change who we go for. So it could definitely, it could be interesting to see how the team goes with a more, like you said, a more offensive based coach versus a defensive.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. It could be, again, it could be a very interesting 2022-2023 season.
Well, when we get some news, we'll be back again. Until then, everyone, thank you for listening. Enjoy the finals. Listen to Ray Biggs on Sirius XM. Check out the Chill Cave during the broadcast as well, where they've got a bunch of different players. Timmy and Ben were on this past episode. Our plugs will be right up, so you know where to follow us. Maybe in the future we'll be able to do a live interview. Who knows?
Could be interesting. There's only one way to find out.
There is, and that is for us to live in the future and know if it happened or not. You look confused.
In the future? Who's in the future?
No, I'm saying if we lived in the future, then yeah.
I know. I'm messing with you.
I guess depending on which time traveling paradox rules you want to follow, but I don't want to get into that. That's another podcast. That look, you got enough nerd stuff on the wall. I'm sure you'd enjoy the chat.
Yeah, I like my nerd stuff. Don't pick on it.
Until next time, though, I'm Matt.
I'm Brandon.
Bye-bye. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to us so you never miss an episode. If that podcast app also has reviews, be sure to leave us 5 stars to let us know how we're doing and reach a larger audience. It really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Keeper Corners Pod. And you can always find us there talking UCFC soccer. Thanks again for the support. It's truly appreciated. One last thing. Go Utica.